Welcome to the Sexy Freedom Media Podcast, a place to discuss pain, passion, and pursuits.
Let's get it. I want to feel alive.
Breathe.
Make some moves.
Protect the throne. This is Sexy Freedom Media Podcast.
Welcome to the Sexy Freedom Media Podcast. It's your host, Helen Edwards, and
January Liddell. Aloha.
Thanks for joining us, everybody. We are excited to be here. This is going to be a little bit of a shorter episode, but we just wanted to share our week because we both got to attend some really awesome networking, women's empowering type of deals. We both did the She's Unstoppable with Sage Robbins, and January also attended a women's networking event in Hawaii. So I definitely want to learn more about that. So we hope that this episode will inspire you or empower you, or you can take away some golden nuggets of your own. So let's get into it.
All right. So my week has been fabulous. I have enjoyed my week. It was actually my 19th wedding anniversary on Tuesday. So I celebrated that with hubby and my children. We went to this place called Kickin' Cajun. If you don't know what a Kickin' Cajun is, it is basically a crab boil. So it's a lot of seafood on a platter with crab, shrimp, sausages, potatoes, corn, and a lobster, and crayfish. Crawfish. So we had that. It was fabulous. And yesterday, I had the opportunity to attend an event called The Art of the Ask. And it is based on a training about asking funders for donations for a nonprofit organization. And I absolutely enjoyed my time there. It was a beautiful space. So here in Hawaii, whenever you go to someone's hale or house, somebody's house, you take off your shoes. So we take off our shoes, and in this meeting space filled with phenomenal women, we all took off our shoes, sat down, people brought some pastries, there was fruits. We sat down and we listened to this woman by the name of Ashley Lundry. Ashley Lundry, the first thing that she said and that came out of her mouth was, "I love talking about money." She was talking my language. She said, "I love talking about money, and I'm not afraid to talk to wealthy people." She, in fact, is wealthy herself, I believe, from what I gather, which is why she does not have the scarcity mindset. She taught us yesterday that there is abundance of money. She said to believe that and to change our mindset from feeling intimidated to believing what our purpose is with our nonprofit organizations. Yesterday, I represented Common Grace. Now, if you don't know Common Grace was founded almost 20 years ago by the man named Jay Jarman. Jay Jarman felt the urge to create this space for mentors and mentees to partner up with each other. Now, the mentors would be young adults or young teens, junior, senior high, partnered with middle schoolers or other high schoolers. And the idea is to just be friends with those that may not have friends or that feel like outcasts, that feel depressed and sad. And it came out of the experience of Columbine when there were mass school shootings. And so Jay Jarman created Common Grace. Now it's a Christian nonprofit organization. And so far they've serviced about 600 students. That is amazing. And so I was invited to attend with Common Grace. And I will tell you that being surrounded by really smart women gives me chills. The way that they were talking was something that I haven't heard before. So one of the one of the things that was mentioned yesterday was decolonizing wealth. I've never heard of that term, decolonizing wealth. Apparently, there's a book out there. So I'm going to read that book. But the way that these women were talking about their nonprofits and about just their heart, like this one woman, she has a nonprofit that helps people with disabilities be able to swim out in the ocean or do water sports activities. But also doing she's also doing providing wheelchairs and walkers and ear pieces. When there was a line of fire, a lot of people lost their items, and so she is funding these equipment for disabled folks. And I thought that was such a heartwarming thing. She doesn't have to do it, but she felt the need to do that to provide for, the disabled. So that's just one nonprofit that was really amazing. Another nonprofit was Domestic Violence Action Center, which aligns with what I'm trying to do with the castle. So it was really nice to network with these individuals. And I spoke to another person who I shared my dream, and she got chills, and she said, it's ironic that you say that, because she was actually in a very similar predicament. Her roommate has PTSD and was having an episode. So she had to leave, and she thought, she was in her hotel, and she said, there are women and children out there who don't have the ability to just go to a hotel and take a break from their loved one who has PTSD. And she said she wanted a space where somebody would be able to house these women and children. And I told her my dream of the castle, and she said, I have a funder for you. So that was amazing. I had a great time. It was so lovely to be around all these amazing women.
It does sound pretty awesome. I think one of the things you were talking about with the overall experience of it was giving and receiving. So oftentimes we do talk a lot about confidence and empowering and business and mindset and what we want to attract into our lives. But we can forget that there's also the other end of it, which is contribution. In fact, in my vision book, it starts in the beginning of what do you want? And throughout the whole vision book, it's like a vision board, but in a book form. I'm listing all the things I want to attract in my life and all the things I visualize for my life. But the one thing I believe a lot of vision boards are missing is, what are you willing to give? You can receive, but you've got to make room for it. So what are you really willing to let go? What are you not willing in a way of like, oh man, I got to give something to get something, but more from a giving and overflowing heart. So for you to go and be amongst all these powerful women who not only believe in abundance, who not only have a place in their heart to want to give back, but each of them have a reason, a dedicated and committed reason why they're doing it. It may have affected their lives. It may be a part of their story. It may be a part of somebody they know, but it runs deep. If you've met anybody who is a giver, there's a reason why it's so rooted in them to have a passion to give to others, because it's really something that profoundly has touched them throughout their lives. So that's really cool that you're bringing that up. And I think this episode's really going to swing that way with the heart of contribution, because that's part of why we want to do so well in life, is because we want to be able to say, when a friend calls us, we have the means, we have the funds, we have the place, we have somewhere for somebody, and not say, oh, I don't have the money to help you. Oh, I don't have this. Oh, I don't have that. I mean, sure, there's boundaries to that. You should say no at certain times. But when you're in a place where you can just give, it's so amazing.
Yes, and every one of those women's in there in that meeting yesterday were all givers. It's why we create nonprofit, is because we want to give to our community. We want to change our community. And just being around that just made me feel so good. And one of the things that the speaker Ashley was talking about was be authentic, be authentic. People buy from people, and really know yourself. Well, the first thing she told us was rest. I thought that was so vital, was for us to rest, because in order for us to give and receive, we do have to rest. And Helen, you and I are such go-getters. We are such movers and shakers. And I know for me, I am constantly going, 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 going. My calendar is jam-packed. And I'm realizing that I need to rest. And you, Mama Bear, have told me that multiple times. Jan, why are you awake at 3 o'clock in the morning? Go to sleep.
That's true. It's true. I am always getting on Janice. If I see her on Facebook, I feel like I'm like big sister, like, hey, you, shouldn't you be asleep? Go back to bed. She's like, I got up to go pee. I'm like, girl, how many times are you going to use that excuse? No, it's valid. I do the same thing actually. But it's interesting that you say rest, because we also did I think you watched the replay of She's Unstoppable, and I joined the event, virtual event, She's Unstoppable with Sage Robbins this week. And that's something they also talked about, which was rest, being able to have a sacred pause, which is something I've never heard of. I've heard of sacred space, which they touched on, but the sacred pause was really cool. I loved the way it was said, because Sage Robbins was basically saying a sacred pause is making time for yourself and knowing when to be unstoppable, but also knowing when to stop and just say, I need a moment. And no matter where you're at, in the grocery store, by a dump truck is what she said, in the bathroom, in the other room from your family, in your own head, just a sacred pause for you to take time to breathe to yourself, let it go, tone down the cortisol, release the stress. That's the sacred pause, because that's for you to take those moments of rest that you truly need throughout the day.
I love that idea called the sacred pause. So I think most of you know that I'm a Christian, and in the Bible, it states that our bodies are our temples. And I love that we are giving that space, or that pause, that sacred pause, to really validate ourselves, to really give ourselves that moment, even if it's a brief moment of just pause and acknowledgement. And I think that's what, when I think of sacred pause, because I haven't gotten to that part yet, but when I think of sacred pause, I think of, I am acknowledging me. I'm acknowledging where I am at that moment, and giving my body, my temple, a moment of peace and serenity. At least that's what I got from it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think for me, when I heard it, I started thinking back of when I had those sacred pauses. And it's usually when I'm really, really just overly exhausted. And I realize I'm holding my breath and I feel like I can't breathe. And I'm constricted right here in my throat chakra just feels constricted. And I'm holding everything here. I'm holding the air. And you've heard it yourself and in yourself, from friends, when they say, I feel like I can't breathe. I feel like I can't breathe. Well, one of the reasons is, and I say one because there's many reasons, I'm sure tons of people can answer this, but from what I know from personal experience, one of the reasons is because you're holding yourself in a moment in time that is full of chaos. It's full of stress. It's full of everything toxic and unwanted. It's like you're sitting in your own shit. It's disgusting. And you want to be released from it, and you want to have clean air, clean space, wide open, fluffy sparkles. That's how I feel anyway. So I always tell myself, breathe. And the moments I just stop and I'm like, ah, it's like you feel so good, not like extremely good, but you do feel some sense of some sense of release from it.
So I should also mention, and I don't think I told you yet, Helen, but we were in the ER on Tuesday night for my daughter, this time of my daughter. So she had some kind of an internal pain and she was really like hyperventilating and crying. And of course, when you're in that moment, it's really hard for you to breathe. But when you're in that moment, that is actually the opportune time to take that pause, to take that breather. And so with our practice, Helen, I tried to help her breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out. And then just that moment of giving that pause to her, she calmed down. And once you're calmed down, the pain isn't as exacerbated as how she was making it out to be at that moment prior to asking her to take a deep breath in, take a deep breath out, right?
And no, that's really good that you're teaching her these modalities while she's young, because she's going to take that with her as she gets older. Because I know there's many kids that aren't introduced to these types of things, and they learn as they get older, and it's a lot more of a challenge. So I applaud you for teaching her that. Um, I also went to, I said, we're working on that. I think I was the first one. Okay, cut. All right. So another thing that I did earlier this week, I want to also entwine it in with the She's Unstoppable. But shout out to Kendra Knoll and Cassidy Handel. I went to a lunch and learn here in Casper, Wyoming. These lunch and learns are amazing. And Cassidy and Kendra are both business women. But what I love is their heart it comes from a really great place. Both of them are Christians. And, this isn't just a Christian exclusive. I'm not a Christian and everybody's invited. Okay. If they invite me, I know everybody's invited. So, but what I love is that they're so giving. They open their space up and it's a free lunch. And they always have somebody who comes and gives their expertise and teaches people, other business and entrepreneurs who want to learn. That's another way that they're giving back to their community. They're giving back to other women. They want to see each other, all of us, grow together. And it's becoming one of my favorite events to go to. And it's actually one that I talked at and I gave my own presentation 2 months ago. So shout out to Kendra and Cassidy. I absolutely loved it.
I love it. I love that you are collaborating with such amazing women who are givers, who are just opening their arms to you. That's exactly how I felt yesterday. I felt like wide open arms. And you know me, I'm a hugger, so I hug everyone. And to be able to be in a room filled with women who are like-minded, who are smart, who are giving, who are just phenomenal. I can't even explain how amazing these women are. But I really enjoyed that moment and that space with them. And I'm excited for not next month. It's going to be in November. They're going to be talking about social media and the presence of social media and how we can leverage it a lot better. What I liked about yesterday was that now I have these other friends that I can talk to, and they're here on island. I miss you, Helen. I wish you were here on island. Imagine if we were together in the same area. How amazing that would be. But meanwhile, I don't. So I have these women here, these other fabulous women that I can connect with. And I am just super excited for what's to come because, as you know, I'm trying to create this nonprofit. And the more that I talk about it, the more I feel this energetic synergy, something that's just, it's just flowing. Actually, that was one thing that we talked about yesterday was the collective partnership with each other. And I really like that. I like that we are empowering each other, that even if we are not in the same niche, we can still provide some kind of assistance to each other. We can refer other people to them. And it's not a competition. It's a, hey, let's do this together. We're in this together. And that was one of the things that Ashley said yesterday. We're in this together.
Oh my God. And we are in this together. So I'm not, like you said, you haven't finished She's Unstoppable, but I'm going to share something and it's going to take this in a little bit of a different direction, but it's on the same line. But this really has been on my mind and on my heart. And I heard it from Sage Robbins in the virtual summit. Now, I've been to 4 UPWs, 4 Unleash the Power Within's with Tony Robbins, 4, okay? And I've crewed a few, and I've taken my son, I've taken my husband. I have met Tony Robbins and Sage Robbins. Now, they wouldn't remember me, but because it was just really fast meeting. But let me tell you something. I've been in this on the self-help journey for about 20 years, committed to it. And I've heard a lot. I've read a lot of books. When you hear a lot, you kind of the same stuff kind of recycles your way, and you always get something new out of it. And it's amazing, right? But every once in a while, you hear something new. And that new thing you hear is just like whoa. All right. You're like God struck. It's crazy. This is what she said. She said, nobody knows, and I might not say this verbatim, so please forgive me if you're listening to Sage Robbins. She said, no one knows when their time is up. No one knows when they're going to go. So in essence, we're all just really walking each other home. And that was just so powerful to me because it really made me think about the times that I had last spent with my brother. And then all of a sudden, I got the news that he passed. The times that I had spent with my mother. And then all of a sudden, in a blink of an eye, we find out she had terminal cancer. The times that I had talked to my dad on the phone and we were planning a visit together. And then I get the next call and it's that he passed away. And I think about all these deaths in my family and my friends, and it really hit me, like, especially with my girlfriends, you, January, Jessica, Danita, Sherette, my closest circle of queens, Michelle, Melissa. I feel like there's so many, but yeah, my sisters. It's like we're growing through this journey together, and our goal is to grow old and have fun, right? Get old together. But what if we don't? Some of us, not all of us, are going to make it to the end together. So really, we're all just walking each other home in this journey. Oh, I mean, I'm tearing up too, but isn't that just so beautiful when you think about it like that?
I have never heard that at all, that we're all just walking each other home together. That was beautiful, made me teary-eyed. I'm not crying, you're crying. There's onions all around here. You're right. And so ever since high school, I've had this thought in my brain: live your day as if it was your last. Live your day as if it was your last, because we are not guaranteed tomorrow. And I've always lived by that. And so every day I try to make it count, because I'm not sure what will happen tomorrow. I'm not sure if I'll have that diagnosis. I'm not sure if I'll have a car accident. I'm not sure. And so every day that I live, it's always been, I want to tell people that I love them. I want to tell people that I appreciate them, that they mean the world to me, because I may not get that chance to say it tomorrow.
Oh, yeah. Another thing she says is be more present. Connect to what blesses you. I like the way that was said, because instead of, be present with your blessings, or know what your blessings are, or you're so blessed. It's like, think about the word connect with what blesses you. Like, not a person, not a thing, but like the in between, the thing, the invisible connection, the invisible blessing. And that was just like, and between those two phrases, or those two words that Sage gave, honestly, since then, and that was only 3 days ago, but since then, I have been more present. And let me tell you, I was really annoyed with my husband the other day. The other day, as in yesterday. I was really annoyed with him, and I was really frustrated, and I get super irritated sometimes. But thinking about the phrase, I'm just walking him home, like, instantly changed my state. My state changed. And when your state changes, your emotions change. And I was just like, oh, I love him so much and I don't want to walk him home. Like I want him here with me and I don't ever want to see him go. And I all of a sudden I was just like overfilled with love, even though there was a part of me that's like, no, I'm still mad at him. It's just like, I'm going to go snuggle him and he's going to be like, get off, I got things to do. And I'm like, no. So, but you know what I mean? Like it instantly brings you back to the present moment of connecting with what blesses you.
Can you repeat that line one more time, please?
Yes. Be more present. Connect to what blesses you.
I love that line. I have not heard that said before. What I've heard is count your blessings, but I like that it says connect, be present, connect with what blesses you. Did I say that correctly?
Be more present. Connect to what blesses you.
Be more present, connect to what blesses you. What? I think I messed that up. Oh, you're on mute.
Connect to what blesses you.
Connect to what blesses you. Be more present, connect to what blesses you.
So what I envision when I hear this is when something you have to plug in to give it electricity, you have to connect to it. You have to physically, presently connect to it. It's not you being mindful that, the radio's here and the what is it called? The wall plug-in thing is over here and they're just aware of each other. No, you have to connect for it to turn on, for the radio to turn on.
Okay, so what I'm hearing you say is intentionally put A to B and connect.
Yes, to make C.
So, to make C. That makes sense. So my husband and I had a thing yesterday. I think it's funny that you were annoyed with your husband yesterday because something happened with my husband yesterday. And one of the things that I told him was, I told him to count his blessings. But what I should be saying is, be more present, connect to what blesses you. And the other line that I like is, when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. So when you are seeing that your life is miserable, or you don't have the big house, you don't have the nice car, you are comparing yourself to other people and you're seeing that you don't have all these things, and it hurts, but it's because you are focused on that. It's because you are intentionally putting your mind into the things that you don't have or perceived that you don't have. And so what Helen is saying is that be more present, connect to what blesses you, be more present in what you have at this very moment in your space, acknowledge, appreciate what is here and now, and count or connect to what blesses you. Connect. So that means attach yourself to something, that thing, like plugging in into the outlet, like Helen was saying. Connect yourself to that thing that blesses you.
Yeah, connect and receive that energy. I think a lot of us have, and going back to giving and receiving, okay, it all goes back to that giving and receiving, because we all want more, we strive for more, but we're taking so much and asking for so much that we forget to give. And part of giving is being able to bless others with receiving. Because how many times do we say, oh, no, it's okay, I don't need that. No, it's okay. And you're kind of blocking that gift. You're blocking the gift of you, first of all, you receiving something, and the person, to allow them to feel good about giving, right? And then many people like that, including myself, I used to have a really hard time receiving. I didn't know how to receive. And then I always wondered, why don't I have? And I was really living in scarcity mindset. But also part of that was I also wasn't giving. So there has to be a flow of that. And part of that is connecting to what is already in front of you.
I love that you mentioned receiving, because receiving was also very difficult for me. even when somebody compliments me, I would say, oh, it's because of this or it's because of that. But really, I should say, thank you. Thank you for saying that. That was very kind of you, and there was a story about my daughter. So just a few weeks ago, an auntie gave her money and she said, no, no, no. And she did not want to receive it. And I had to tell her, no, it's a gift and you have to take it because it's polite and it's respectful to take what she is giving you. It's okay. It's okay. And I'm glad we had that conversation. It was such a teaching moment to let her know that it's okay to receive. And I think as women, it's so funny because she's so young and I don't remember, teaching her to not receive. But I think it's ingrained in us women that we're very humble or we're very like, no, don't worry about me. We got this. I think it's that independence type of feeling. I'm not really sure where it came from, but I'm really glad that we had that teachable moment where I told her it's important for you to receive it because that is a gift from somebody.
Mm.
So even though you may not want them to give you the gift, you need to accept it.
Ooh, I love that. I love that. One of the beautiful things that Sage Robbins also mentioned was when she said, and here we are now, life takes form. She said that a few times, and I kept hearing her say it, and I thought to myself, that was so odd because she just say it after, after somebody spills their heart, and then she'd respond, and then she'd say, and then she'd repeat it, and here we are now, life takes form. And it just started connecting in my brain like, that's absolutely real. Like, here we are, you and I, January, in this moment, life taking form. And when you do start being more present, you do start noticing these miraculous moments that life is taking form in this moment, that we're both in this moment giving and receiving. We're receiving this good energy from each other. We are giving this really great, I hope, I hope that it feels great to our listeners and that they feel inspired because that is our goal. Our goal is to really give out positive energy, give out good vibes, bring guests on who also have something amazing to share with our audience because we want to give. Our hearts in this platform are all about giving.
Speaking of giving, I want to thank you for your episode and your morning sauce because you're right. I am unique. I am amazing. I am phenomenal. And I love that you are such a giver, Helen. And
Stardust, stardust.
Stardust. I was listening to that this morning as I woke up and I said, I need to play your morning sauce. So I played it and I said, this is just what I needed today. And it really did make me feel good. And that is our hope here in Sexy Freedom Media Podcast, that we give you positivity, we give you hope, we give you enlightenment, and maybe give you a laugh or two here and there. So with that said, Helen, let's wrap this up. But were there any final thoughts that you'd like to share with our audience?
My final thought is I'm so thankful that we have listeners and that we're starting to hear more from our listeners. So thank you for being so courageous and also for your precious time, for those 2 to 5 minutes or even less sometimes that you take to give us a star review on Spotify or a written review on iTunes. You have no idea how much that just makes me in January dance around our house. We are so grateful for you, and you are incredible. Like January mentioned, if you haven't listened to Your Morning Sauce, which is our sister show, it's a morning show. All the episodes are under 6 minutes. It's something just to give you a quick little snack bite of inspiration and empowerment for your morning. Today's episode was episode 36 called You Are Unique. Go listen to it because you are one in 4 trillion. And I don't want to spill the beans for you or spoil alert it for you. So go check it out. But you are truly special. And thank you so much for listening. And my name's Helen Edwards. You can find me on Instagram, Hell of a Journey with 1L, or Sexy Freedom Media on Instagram, or just Google me, Helen Edwards. I'll pop right up and you can get your copy of my best-selling book, Nothing Sexier Than Freedom, on Amazon and Audible. What about you, January?
So my final words are, and you're right, we are 1 in 4 trillion. I love that. That I didn't know. I had no idea. So thank you for sharing. One of the things I want to share is that you can create your life. You can create the life that you want. And I love that Sage Robbins said, as we speak, life is forming. Probably messed that one up, but life is forming as we're right here present with each other. You can create that space. You can choose which direction you want to take. I had a podcast this past week, and that was one of the things I said was that I live my life on my own terms. So I decide where I want to go, what I want to feel, what I want to be, who I want to be around. I decide. You decide. You have the power to do that. You have the power to do that. With that said, you can find me JanuaryLiddell.com. I'm also on Facebook, Anchored Financial LLC, and Instagram, Anchored Financial LLC. I have a children's book called Alina, the Super Saver. Please buy it on Amazon, or you can find it on my website, JanuaryLiddell.com. Thank you so much to all the listeners for listening and for being with us at this moment.
All right. Thanks, everybody.
Want to hear more?
Visit us at sexyfreedommedia.com.